started out, I was just a disciple of Eddie Van Halen, Randy Rhoads, Ritchie Blackmore. I mean, those were the guys I looked up to, and I tried to learn all their licks and spent hours listening to them. I was just like the biggest fan. And I would just work super hard, and I could kind of play a lot of that stuff. I put so much time in that I could play it. I remember going to parties and like doing Van Halen licks and, being the cool kid for like 10 minutes. And then as soon as I stopped playing, I wasn't cool anymore. But, I just loved guitar. I loved it. But everything really changed, like I talked about a lot on my channel, when I heard Yngwie Malmsteen and Alcatraz on the radio one night. And Alcatraz playing was just mind-blowing. I still think it stands the test of time as some of the greatest rock guitar playing ever. And I was just like, I got to do this. I got to learn to pick fast, And I got to where I figured out how I could kind of pick fast, and I was playing fast. But there was one thing in my playing that I didn't like, and I noticed when I played a line like Yngwie, it didn't sound like Yngwie. It was really fast. I started on the downbeat, but it didn't have this pulse or swing to the playing, the fast lines like Yngwie played. And I wanted that sound so bad, and I just sat there for hours trying to get it, and I couldn't get it. And one day I realized two things. Number one was my hand wasn't really moving in rhythm. I had saw a concert of Yngwie in Japan that was recorded in 1985. A friend of mine had it as kind of an import from Japan, and he made me a copy. And I just sat around watching this video all the time. And one thing I noticed about Yngwie is that when he played and he moved his fingers, you could almost see the rhythm in his fingers without even hearing the notes. If you muted the sound and just watched his playing, you could almost tell what he was playing just by the way his fingers were moving. And it dawned on me that he had developed a muscle memory for that phrase. But not just playing the notes, actually the rhythm, the sextuplet in this case of the phrase. Sextuplet rhythm of the phrase. And I thought, I need to get that. I need to get it. And one thing I noticed was I was moving my fingers really small when I was playing fast, which is what everyone told me to do. Don't move your fingers a lot, less movement equals speed. Well, by doing that, I didn't really have the separation in my fingers to really hear those rhythms. And when I watched other players like Paul Gilbert and Sean Lane and players like that, I noticed that when they would play lines, their fingers would move kind of also with certain rhythms and finger movements and muscle memory all working together. And I wanted that. I noticed by moving your fingers like that, there was a separation in the notes that when you're legatoing, or in this case picking lines, you can really hear the separation. And by feeling the rhythm in your fingers, you really start to develop that phrase to where you can really play in syncing. Almost, I always strive for this, and this is something that when I first heard Yngwie that really blew me away, was how articulate he was. That when he played a fast line, I can almost hear a space in between each note. It was so defined, and it was in, like if he played sextuplets, they were just right on and swinging, and it was beautiful. So one thing I did was I tried to make my fingers move in bigger movements, not huge, but to where I really could feel the rhythm in my fingers. And I did that by just taking a lick that I was practicing and moving my fingers, and I didn't really worry about it being a legato lick or a picking lick. I just tried to get the motion happening on the fretboard, feeling my fingers move on the fretboard on the string. And by doing that and really relaxing my hand, I found the key was really relaxing my hand. I started to feel the motions. I tapped my foot. I didn't have a metronome at the time, but I'd just go through all the different fingerings with a certain lick, It could be that, it could be the Paul Gilbert lick or the Al Di Meola kind of thing. And just really start to feel those motions in my fingers. And when I play legato there, I'm not even really consciously hammering and pulling off. I'm just sort of feeling the motions. It's kind of cool. It feels great. And I'm just feeling the rhythms and moving my finger. And then when I went to play the lick with, picking it or whatever up to speed, I noticed that I was starting early. It just, one day a light bulb went off and I realized I need to lay back. It's so easy when we go to play fast to come in a little early and kind of cheat. But that doesn't work out rhythmically, If you start early and you play you can't really feel it as a rhythmic phrase the way you can if you start right on the downbeat. And I noticed that by relaxing my hand, my wrist started to move and certain things I just let it happen on its own and just let the fingers move the way they wanted. I'll play some licks here and you can kind of check it out. And initially when I started to do that, it was just awesome how amazing it felt. And the weird thing was that when I first did it, I would do it a little bit, then I'd slip back into my old way and kind of have to find it again. And sometimes I wouldn't find it again right away. And I just kept doing it every day over and over and over till it became the new muscle memory, just a reflex. And the thing is I noticed that when I was away from the guitar, if I had a really good practice session and I had periods where I could do the lick, then I took, set the guitar down, came back. I noticed that when I picked it up, I could find it again a little easier. Then as I played a long time, I would start to lose it. If I had a really long practice session, so I put the guitar down again. And sometimes I would just go nuts and practice for like 5 hours trying to find it again to no avail. I just kept playing it wrong. I was really obsessed and really driven to be able to play these licks. And then it dawned on me that I didn't have to practice so long. I just practiced a lot during the day. I'd pick it up and try to play everything right. And that's really when my playing really developed, by picking up a lot. And by relaxing, everything started to come together and it was just amazing. And I couldn't wait to pick up the guitar to pick fast. Even to this day, I love picking. And then I transferred that into crossing strings, and I didn't change anything with my right hand. I just kind of arranged my licks to where they were comfortable crossing. Everything started to come together and I really could feel those rhythms, and it was just, I can't tell you how that changed my playing, just incredibly. So I took everything to the extreme. I remember taking an album, an Yngwie album, and just recording little snippets of the line I was trying to learn, the sextuplet Yngwie lick or whatever at the time, and just looping it on a cassette so I could just hear that lick continuously for a long period of time. And I would listen to it every night before I went to bed and just lie there and just kind of pretend I was playing it in my mind, what it felt like. And I think that really helped. And then like when Paul Gilbert came out, actually it was Vinnie Moore, then Paul, I was just blown away by Vinnie's picking. And I remember listening to Vicious Rumors, and there was a break on Blitz the World, and he played this little descending line. It was picked. I just listened to that over and over and wanted it to sound like that. And Mind's Eye, just incredible picking on there. Tony Macalpine was another one. Then when Paul, like I mentioned, came out, it was just mind-blowing. So that's how I did it. First thing I would do is try to feel the rhythms, hear it in my head. Then I would just try to transfer that onto the guitar, moving my fingers till I felt that pulse in my lines, that rhythm. I just tried to think of everything in terms of a phrase, a rhythmic phrase, and allow my fingers just to do what they felt natural doing, keeping the motion as a phrase, as a rhythmic phrase. And then I just started practicing with 16th notes, 8th notes, triplets, whatever, every combination of fingerings, and just really allowing my hand to relax and feel the music and feel the motions. And everything really came together for me. It's pretty amazing. And it worked great for arpeggios, any kind of legato lick, whatever, that same approach. So, well, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. I really enjoyed talking about guitar playing, and I really love talking about all the little things I discovered along the way, and I hope it helps some of you. And thanks everyone for the likes and comments. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't, please like and subscribe, and I'll continue to do more of this. So thanks a lot, and have fun picking.